be with the family and friends of Kenny Irwin Jr. and will remember the indelible imprint that his life has left on us and all of the racing world. We dedicate tonight's telecast to the memory of Kenny Irwin Jr.
The question is, are there enough laps for him to catch Michael Lewis?
Well, I think he might get a lap. There is the white flag. This is the last lap. He has a shot at him.
Man, he is really eating him up fast.
He's going to do it. He's going to get it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, a photo finish. A photo finish. Who won it? I don't know.
What we do know is that we're back on Thunder, this time with the USAC Stoops Freightliner Sprint Cars. And we're at a track we've never been to before, and a place USAC hasn't raced for 11 years, Toledo Speedway in Ohio. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, welcomes you to Toledo, Ohio Speedway as we get set for the Himmelgarn Racing Salute to Raleigh Beal Night. A fast half-mile racetrack is what we're looking at here tonight. Qualifying has already been held, and Ryan Newman is the top qualifier. The top 6 fastest: Dave Steele, Tracy Hines, Jay Drake, Dave Garland, and Steve Cerniak. Gary Lees with the fast qualifier.
Well, the number 1 car is the number 1 qualifier. Ryan Newman strapped on board. He'll start at the back of the first heat race. Usually you get your tires warmed up and your second lap is the fastest. Tonight, your first lap was the quick one.
Yeah, we qualified on sticker tires. Luckily, the first lap was a good one. And I kind of screwed up a little bit on my second one. Cost me a little bit of time, washed up a little bit. The track's a little slippery here, and I think the pavement's a little old, and I think it's going to be real conducive for good passing because the cars that aren't handling real well are going to start to slide up and get out of us, hopefully, our fast cars' way. So I just want to take this time to thank Larry Newberry. He's looking down from above. He's the one that was pretty instrumental in getting this wind friction proofing car here, and we got teammate Jimmy McKeown, and we look forward to good things tonight.
Well, you talked about being able to pass because of the slick pavement. He'll have to do some passing starting at the back of the pack. The hottest driver right now in USAC competition is Jay Drake, and he's with Amy East.
Thanks, Gary. And in 6 starts, Jay Drake has won 4 times: Eldora, Granite City, and twice at the Terre Haute Action Track. Now, that's all dirt, and for the first time in 2000, we're going to see Jay Drake on pavement. So far, you've qualified 4th quick. What kind of momentum do you have coming off that huge, huge month of June?
Well, I'm not sure exactly for this particular day, but overall, I mean, the momentum's great. To have a month like we had in June is just incredible, and, to ask for another month like that might be getting a little greedy, but hopefully we can carry the momentum over and then keep winning races and doing well.
Well, next week we have another Thunder on pavement at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Will we see you in this car again?
Well, I think we might. This was kind of a one-off opportunity here with Bill Biddle and the Hanna Construction Group, and they were going through some changes, working out some stuff with this race car, and we had some help from Jack French, and so far I think it's worked out well. The car is pretty fast, and we qualified 4th here, like you said, and I guess if we do well tonight and everybody's happy, you'll probably see us out there next week, too.
All right, you guys, well, he's got the momentum, whether he thinks so or not. He's hot, and we're going to see if he can carry it into July. He's carrying our onboard camera.
Thanks very much, Amy. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins, along with former USAC champion Larry Rice, and it is a big night for every single person that straps on a helmet here tonight in the USAC Stoops Freightliner Sprint Car Series. It's also the night that we salute a former driver and former USAC official, Raleigh Beal.
This is a very historic racetrack. Raleigh Beal was at home here. He lives near here, and he won 5 times at this racetrack. But it had a lot of historic winners. Rich Vogler won here. Tom Snevel won here. Gary Benthausen and Pancho Carter won here. But tonight, the big prize is an IRL test. That's worth over $30,000, and every one of those drivers out there is shooting for that.
That, of course, goes to the winner of the feature race here tonight. But before that, we've got the heat races coming up for you, all from Toledo, Ohio Speedway. We'll be right back. ESPN's coverage of Thunder from Toledo, Ohio Speedway is being brought to you by Tractor Supply. Whether you have 1 acre or 1,000, Tractor Supply will get you the job done. Well, here at Toledo, we are getting set for 4 8-lap heat races, and the top 4 from those will transfer automatically to the feature race. Those that do not will have to compete in a 12-lap semi, of which the top 2 will transfer to the 30-lap feature. And the purse is $20,650, but as Larry indicated, it's a much higher purse because of that test with the Himmelgarn IRL team that goes to the winner of the 30-lap feature.
Right. I think we might have had a wrong chyron there. I think the top 6 will transfer to make 22 starters in the feature.
Here's the lineup for the heat race number 1. It's Jim Mills on the inside and Brett Poole on the outside. In row number 2, Casey Kane on the inside and flanked by Tony Ave in car number 3. Row number 3 has Dave Darlin in car number 69 and Robbie Rice in number 22. The 4th row, Gordon Rogers in 94 and the fastest qualifier, Ryan Newman in car number 1. And on the tail end of the field is car number 94 driven by Gordon Rogers. So those are your starters for tonight's first 8-lap heat race.
And there is Ryan Newman, our fast qualifier tonight. He has been quick all year long in just about everything that he's run. He hasn't run quite as much. He's not running for the championships and anything, but as you can see from this, he's been very effective when he's been on the racetrack this year.
Has won in a sprint car at Anderson, in a midget, and hasn't won a Silver Bullet Series race yet, but has been close on 2 different occasions. And right next to him is a driver originally from Washington, now making his home in the Indianapolis area, Casey Kane.
Yeah, this young man, you know, when he first started, I got some calls from the West Coast saying, hey, you got to watch this kid. He's really going to be tough. And obviously they were right. He's been very good. He came back here. He's won in just about everything he's run, including wing sprint cars, which he hasn't run a whole lot of.
Just about ready to go, Gary, for the first heat race.
Well, Bob, you heard Ryan Newman talk about the slick track conditions. I am told that this asphalt dates back to 1972. So although they've upgraded the racetrack, the track surface itself is an old track, and right now it's going to be very slick this evening.
It's a relatively high bank racetrack, as you can see, so we more than likely will see 2 and 3 grooves of racing, and it's also a very fast racetrack. Now, the track record is still intact. It was set by Rich Vogler back in September of 1989 and still stands. Ryan Newman's fast qualifying lap tonight was not quite up to that standard.
Yes, in those days they allowed these 6-cylinder engine cars to have less weight. They could weigh like 1,250 pounds. Rich was in a V6 Buick when he set that track record, and the lightweight had a great effect on time.
Well, the cars now are ready to go as they come out of corner number 4. Look for the green flag, and they get it. Good start to heat race number 1 as the front row goes through corner number 1 side by side. Brett Poole dropping back a little bit as Jim Mills has grabbed the lead, and Tony Ave running in second place.
Yeah, he's trying to sneak down underneath Robbie Rice on the outside of Brett Poole, trying to move into 4th. And it doesn't look like, yeah, Ave does get inside of him right there.
Nice move by Tony Ave down low in turn number 1, and that is the groove that most of them will be running. In fact, they'll get the left side tires, it would appear, off the pavement just momentarily in the first turn to try to get the advantage going into that corner. Now, there's Ryan Newman in that yellow number 1 car. He's already moved up to 3rd spot as he challenges Robbie Rice, who's moved into 2nd.
Those 2 guys took the outside groove. That's not the easiest groove to run at this racetrack. Both of them took that groove, though, and made it work. And so far, Robbie Rice has been able to hold off Ryan Newman as he tries the outside and can't make it work right there.
And that's Dave Darlin running back there in 4th position in the white number 69. So a good 3-car battle here for 2nd position. But as far as the lead is concerned, that belongs to Tony Ave, and he's got a nice advantage at the moment. Rice and Newman still going at it for that 2nd spot. Trying up high, down low. He's going to try it low now into 3, but Robbie holds him off.
Just can't quite get up there quite far enough. Robbie Rice used a lot of racetrack right there. Ryan Newman tried the outside, then snuck down the inside. Couldn't make it either place.
And there's Dave Darlin, who also was on that back bumper of Ryan Newman as they come down to complete another lap. This will be the completion of lap number 6.
I think you're right. I think that was lap number 6. 2 laps to go. And again, Ryan Newman, those 4 cars are in the transfer spot, so they don't want to do anything silly. Ryan Newman is going to try to get around him, but he knows that 3rd spot is good enough to get him into the feature. So unless he can get by cleanly, he's not going to do anything silly.
One more lap to go. Abe has the lead in hand. We're watching this battle for 2nd and 3rd position. Right now it's Rice, Newman, and Darlin as they head for turn number 3 for the final time. Here they come off the corner. Newman takes a look down to the inside but cannot make the pass. Rice finishes 2nd, followed by Newman and Darlin. And Casey Kane finished in the 5th position. Have you ever raced here, Larry?
I raced here several times back in the 70s, and I've raced on this surface, evidently. Gary says I've been here since then. So, this is a tough racetrack to run. It's a tough racetrack to set your race car up for. You have to run the bottom, but if you want to pass people, you got to be able to go around on the outside.
Well, Larry's son finishes in 2nd position, but the winner of the first heat race here at Toledo, Ohio Speedway is Tony Abe. Back with the talk with him in just a moment. Tony Abe wins the first 8-lap heat race here at Toledo. Robbie Rice finishes 2nd. Ryan Newman, Dave Darlin, and Casey Kane the top 5, but only the top 4 transferred to the feature. And that first 8-lap heat race is a new track record. Abe won it in 2 minutes, 7 6/800ths of a second. Gary?
Well, I get to tell him it's a new track record because, Bob, he didn't hear you say that, so congratulations. The most versatile driver, I think, here this evening. You were in Cleveland last week in a Trans Am car. You're in a sprint car tonight, and later this weekend, you're where?
Well, we'll be at Road America in the Grand Am. We tested yesterday, and we drive all night back there and qualify tomorrow morning. So I got my friends with me to let me sleep in the back of the truck, and I should be fresh tomorrow morning.
You hear that, Rice? You can drive home and let me sleep. Here's the pass for the lead. Talk about it. You got out early and let the guys battle behind you.
Yeah, we knew how good our Beast was running. Bob East has been over tuning us up, and between him and Alan Kroll and Nick Short, my Penske shocks are always really good. Just couldn't get the motor to run good in qualifying, so we got our work cut out for us if we're going to win that test.
How long does it take to adapt to when you go to a different kind of race car week after week after week?
Not too long. Grew up racing snowmobiles, a lot of different kinds all at one time, and so you just get used to it, you know. So the big thing is we need to do a little better job here qualifying. We always seem to mess up somehow, and it's kept us from winning a feature so far.
Remember, it's a sprint car without fenders. You can't rub, okay?
All right.
Amy East with the guy that finished 2nd, Robbie Rice.
And it was a really exciting 2nd-place finish for Robbie Rice. As soon as he jumped out of the car, I said, man, you passed on the outside. And the look on your face was one of excitement. Tell me about that high groove.
Well, the bottom is definitely the group you want to be in, and sometimes you have to go into uncharted territory, and tonight that's what we had to do. Start on the outside of row 3 and just had to pick our spots. You know, some of the guys were running pretty decent on the bottom, and first time here for me, and I probably don't know any better, and that's why I did it, but it worked out good for us. Run 2nd in the heat race, and couldn't be here without my sponsor. I got to thank Jack and Susie Gould at J.D. Gould Company, Pedigo Chevrolet, and Central Indiana Mac, and Terre Haute First National Bank.
Well, it was good to hear Robbie admit that that's not the fast line, but can he stay in that outside groove? There we go. Lap after lap in the feature. I think he's got a good chance.
Well, one thing he does have a good chance of doing is retaining the sponsors, Larry, because he got all of them in and did it in a very slick fashion.
Well, that's part of the game. If you listen to these guys that keep their sponsors, that's what they have to do.
This will be his 4th feature of the year 2000. Robbie Rice's best finish was 6th at Indianapolis Raceway Park, hoping for a better finish here tonight. We'll be right back. The Winston Showdown is an all-star drag racing event that pits top fuel and funny car drivers in head-to-head competition for a $200,000 prize. And you can see it tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2. Qualifying can be seen later tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. That's from the Bristol Dragway in Tennessee, the NHRA Winston Showdown. Ron Himmelgarn is a major player here tonight. He's with Gary Lee.
Well, of course, Ron, this is your hometown, and you're sponsoring this evening by giving the winner a ride, a test in your IRL car.
Yeah, it's a pretty exciting evening for us. It's been a lot of years since we had sprint cars, open wheels here in Toledo, so it's really great to be involved. And I think it's great for the IRL to take another open-wheel driver off the sprint car circuit and give them a test. And and hopefully they can do something with it. And maybe they can live that dream and get to Indy and actually run in the 500.
And talk about living a dream. The car owner you are on the 96 winner with Michael Lazier. Congratulations. What fond memories you have.
Oh, absolutely. We brought that car with us. We've got it here and got it on display, and we're going to bring it out on the start-finish at the end of the race and let that winner of the race sit in that winning car and maybe give them a little luck for their future.
Or is this a tribute to Raleigh Beal, another resident of Toledo? And a lot of guys are here to honor him, including this guy right here. Here's Lee Koonsman, who is the team manager of Himmelgarn. And Lee, as I recall, you won here at Toledo in August of 1973.
Yes, I ran here a couple times. It's really a fine racetrack. I always enjoyed this racetrack very much. It's fast. It's a safe racetrack, I believe. And you sure drive the heck out of them, I'll tell you that. It'll take all you can give it.
Do you miss it?
Well, certainly, but I'm close enough every day now, so it's not a big step. It lessened the deflation period.
All right, the cars are on the track for our second heat race. Bob, let's get the lineup.
And a salute to Ray Mott and Ron Drager for their promotion of the Toledo Speedway. We have a near capacity crowd here tonight for this event. Here's a lineup for heat race number 2. On the pole will be Brandon Petty in car number 30 and J.J. Yaley outside. Second row, Derek Davidson, flanked by Jonathan Vinard. In row number 3, Bud Kading and Steve Cerniak. And back in row number 4, Dave Steele, who will have an onboard camera for this 8-lapper.
And there we have a look at David Steele. You're going to be able to see his eyes. It's very important to watch what these guys do, not only with their hands, but with their eyes. And David Steele, we've had this camera in his car before. And he's a guy that always has his eyes very wide open and looking a long way up front.
J.J. Yaley is second in points in the USAC Stoops Freightliner Sprint Car Series coming into this event. He, of course, originally from Phoenix, Arizona, has been very consistent in the Sprint Car Series this year. 3 top 5s and 10 top 10s. He has 3 career wins in this division.
And his forte is really the dirt, but he has run Indy cars. He's run Indianapolis, so he certainly knows his way around the pavement as well.
And Bud Kading also is going to be in this heat race. He's from Campbell, California, just 20 years of age. Finished 2nd this year, 9th this year twice for his best finish in this division.
Well, we got a lot of guys from all over the country. We got them from the East Coast, from the West Coast, from the Midwest. I mean, Kading came from California, Steele from Florida, Yaley from Arizona, I mean, Cerniak from Pennsylvania, so they're from everywhere.
Good-looking field of cars as they are now coming down the backstretch, getting set for the start of this 8-lap heat race. Again, the top 4 finishers will transfer to the feature. Brandon Petty on the inside, Yaley outside, Derek Davidson in the yellow number 9, Jonathan Vinard alongside him, then Kading and Cerniak, and back in the back row is the 91 of Dave Steele. Green flag waves, and heat race number 2 is underway as Yaley quickly dives down to the inside of Petty and takes over the lead. Down the backstretch as Dave Steele begins. Ooh, Cerniak a little loose up there ahead of him. That's Derek Davidson right ahead of Dave Steele.
You can see Dave Steele went in on the outside, then diving down to the inside, trying to get up the side of Davidson. Didn't get quite far enough up, had to fall back in. But right there, he's going to get the shot right there as Davidson got loose and gave him the inside line.
Got a good run off of corner number 2, goes into corner number 3, side by side with Davidson, and Steele will come out with that position, but he has to move up a couple of more spots, or at least one more spot, before he gets a transfer position.
You can see the sun shining in the camera. It does the same thing to the drivers. The sun is going down, so going into turn 1 is very difficult to see right now.
That will be a problem for the next few minutes as the sun begins to set, and up ahead of Dave Steele is Jonathan Vinard, who runs in the 4th position, and Steele would like to get that and make an automatic transfer to the feature.
Well, he's got to get it if he wants to get into the feature race, and obviously he wants it very badly. Steve Cerniak right now also right there in that mix. And you can see that from that onboard camera that it's a little bit rough down there in 4. There's a big bump right there, right? 2 of them in a row. Vinard hit both of them. Didn't upset the race car hard enough to get him out of the groove, though.
Well, J.J. Yaley leads. We're watching 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th position here. Brandon Petty runs in 2nd spot. That is Steve Cerniak up ahead, along with Jonathan Vennard, and Dave Steele now up on the high side of the racetrack will again try to diamond off the corner and get to the inside, but can't, and Bud Kading has a problem.
Yeah, Bud Kading has stopped over there. It doesn't appear that he has hit anything, but it does appear that he's just lost power and stopped on the high side of the racetrack, getting out of everybody's way.
Kading, the 1999 USAC Western States Sprint Car champion, won 7 of 17 events last year, including 6 at Irwindale. Currently 12th in the point standings in the Stoops Freightliner Sprint Cars coming into this event. And looks like it's just a mechanical problem, Larry.
Yeah, they've jumped out to see exactly what they need to do. It might have just jumped out of gear. He's telling them he's putting it back in gear, and they're going to maybe get a push truck and put him back out on the racetrack. Push track coming around right now.
Well, while we have a lull in the action here during this second heat race, we'll take a break and be right back with more thunder from Toledo, Ohio Speedway. J.J. Yaley currently leads this second heat. We're back on Thunder at Toledo Speedway. This is Himmelgarn Racing's Salute to Raleigh Beal Night, featuring USAC Stoops Freightliner Sprint Cars. We're in the second heat. We threw a caution just a few minutes ago because Bud Kading's car came to a stop up against the second turn wall.
Right, and it appeared to have just jumped out of gear. He just pulled up to the wall and stopped up there on the outside of the racetrack. He is restarted, but he is back in 7th place. He's got a long way to go to make the feature.
There is Bud at the tail end of the field as we're set to go back to racing. 3 more laps to go in this 8-lap race, and Dave Steele will need 1 more position to get into an automatic transfer spot, and he has had all kinds of difficulty in doing so far. Now Vennard, as you can see, has taken a position from Steve Cerniak, so Cerniak now becomes the man that Dave Steele sets his sights on.
Yeah, it appeared that Vennard just got a great jump off of turn number 4. It looks like Cerniak might have a real high gear in that car, not getting very good starts. He did get a good start on the original start or on the restart, and allowed guys to get around him both times.
Brandon Petty running in second, then Vennard. Dave Steele tries to get to the inside of Cerniak, but can't do it. We've only got 1 more lap to go, 1 more tour around this half-mile track, and Steele has his hands full with Bud Kading, who's to his left as they go down the backstretch. A 3-car battle here for position. Here comes Yaley. He wins the race. Petty second, then Vennard, Cerniak, Steele, and Kading finish in that position. So Dave Steele had difficulty moving up through the field and just could not get into a transfer spot, so he will be among those running the semi-feature, as J.J. Yaley, who has 11 feature starts in the year 2000 in this series, with his best finish of 4th at Eldora, his best pavement finish of 5th at Anderson, he wins the second heat race.
Well, you can see how important it is to get a good jump on both the original starts and the restarts. Those were very important. They cost Cerniak spots. He did make the feature event, but just barely, as David Steele was all over him, and Bud Kading was right in there at the end as well.
Well, we've just received word from the USAC officials that Vennard has been penalized for that restart. He jumped the start and so loses 2 positions.
Well, that's a tough thing for a young man to learn, but you know, sometimes that does happen. He did get a great jump. I couldn't tell from where we were whether the green flag had already waved or not.
Well, here's a young man who looks forward to the next Indy Racing Northern Light Series event because he has a ride in it, Gare.
Well, also, he looks forward to the feature this evening because not only does he have a win in the heat to transfer, but you picked up 6 points for that victory, and you're chasing Elliott right now in the championship.
Yeah, we definitely are. You know, we kind of screwed up. We had some engine problems there in practice, and we didn't get very long practice, so we didn't catch the engine problem until after qualifying. So, you know, fortunate for the GMS ABC Santa Ana car, we get to start in front of the heat race, but the bad thing is we got to start the back to feature.
Now, we've heard that this track is slick right now. Give us the latest track conditions.
Oh, actually, you know, we made some changes this new J&J, and it was pretty good out there right then. You know, I could really keep the car around the bottom and run the middle. So, you know, I think in the feature I'll be able to pick them off real low coming off a corner. So I think we're going to be in real good shape.
Not bad for an old dirt tracker.
Yeah, you know, this place reminded me a little bit of dirt. I was sliding around a little bit, but, you know, we're real happy with winning the heat race. We're definitely going to go out and try to do the best in feature.
One of our favorites is David Steele, and he's with Amy East.
And we were concerned whether or not he'd get that last transfer spot, but on the last lap, you had your hands full with Bud Kading. Tell me about the last lap.
Well, we were going to try 4 spot there on the outside, and you know, when you're running 5th and there's only 4 to go to the main event, you don't have much to lose. So we just moved up a group, tried to go around a guy on the top, and it's tough to pass here. So, you know, I guess the guy behind us stuck his nose up under us, and 5th or 6th doesn't make any much difference in the heat race. So hopefully we'll qualify through the semi and then get her tuned up a little bit for the feature.
Quickly, tell me how the sun, the way we're seeing with the onboard camera, how much that sun glare is coming down into your eyes. Tell me if that is affecting you and how it plays into the heat races right now.
I didn't really think it was that bad. It's been worse at some other tracks. It'll obviously get a little bit better as the night goes on, but it wasn't too bad out there for us.
Okay, well, Dave Steele's going to have to work his way through the semi, probably starting up front, though that should be easy for him, and we'll hope he does good in the feature.
J.J. Yaley wins the second heat race here tonight. Brandon Petty, Steve Cerniak, and Steele get the transfer positions because Venard finished 5th after being penalized for jumping the restart. And let's take a look at that and see if we can see specifically where he made the mistake. Here they come off corner number 4.
Well, USAC rules say that you must be nose to tail. You can see that when the green flag fell, he was way to the inside of Cerniak. He just got a little bit excited, got down there a little bit too early. If he had waited just another few feet, he might have been able to pull that pass off. So, and the rule also is you get penalized 2 positions for every 1 you gain. So instead of going behind Cerniak, he went behind Steele and has to run the semi-feature.
And that allows Dave to make the feature event, so he will get set for that. Near capacity crowd here tonight at Toledo, Ohio Speedway, enjoying Thunder, the USAC Stoops Freightliner Series. More in a moment. Welcome back to Toledo, Ohio Speedway. Let's get set now for the 3rd heat of the evening. Here's a lineup. Bobby Adamson will be the pole sitter. Mike Blake alongside an 81. Row number 2, Levi Jones in 2J and Tony Elliott in number 66. The 3rd row, Jimmy McCune in number 2 and Billy Puterbaugh Jr. in number 7. And back in the 4th row by himself is Tracy Hines in car number 19. Here's Gary Lee.
You know, when I announced my very first USAC race was right here in 1973. This guy, Russ Clendenin, was the sprint supervisor, all of 92 years of age, has a better memory than I do. How's the health?
This is probably better than yours.
Probably so. Hey, what are you doing now to keep yourself busy?
I don't do nothing now. I retired from General Motors about 20 years ago, and I've been racing until about 10 years ago. From then on, I haven't been doing nothing.
You were the sprint supervisor for how many years?
I was sprint supervisor for, I don't know, for years and years. Then I got the stock car. Then I got the dirt division thrown in with it. We was busy all the time.
Well, I wonder if you ever had trouble with Larry Rice there, Bob.
Well, I don't know, but I am glad you mentioned the fact that this is sort of your homecoming here, the first place that you announced on the PA system. I also was interested in noting that in 1973, that was the year Amy East was born.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Gary. Ready to go racing here at Toledo, Ohio Speedway. Once again, this is the 3rd heat coming up.
Yeah, Russ Clendenin was a great guy, and he did chew my butt out a few times, let me tell you. He was right on top of things, and if you did something wrong, he was right after you, believe me.
This area is so rich in racing heritage. That's one of the reasons why we are very glad to come here to compete on this racetrack. Green flag, here we go. The 3rd heat race underway. Mike Blake from the outside front row takes a lead coming off corner number 2. That's Tony Elliott that has gone into 2nd position. Looks like Adamson is having some handling difficulties in that black number 2 with the blue numerals. He's now under fire from Jimmy McCune.
That's right. Jimmy McCune and the black number 2 just went around the outside. Another number 2, 2J back there, Levi Jones. We got Deuces Wild in this race. We got 3 of them.
That's for sure. Levi Jones is the red number 2 up on the high side of Tracy Hines, who is, and he's a little loose coming off corner number 4 and loses his spot. That is Tracy Hines trying to get around Bobby Adamson.
And so far, he hasn't been able to make that work. Look at Puterbaugh trying to sneak under Tony Elliott, getting into turn 3. Did not take the chance, though. Backed off and let him go.
Puterbaugh's had a good run from the outside of row number 3. He's now up there in 3rd position. But look at McCune as he goes to the high side of the racetrack. And now Puterbaugh to the inside of Elliott will take over 2nd.
Yes, he got that inside. McCune was on the outside, snuck down very quickly to that inside. Now then he's going to get the position from Elliott.
Good tight racing here as Tracy Hines looks on, and he wants to find one more spot, and he may get it here. He comes down. There he gets the tires off the pavement down in the grass as he tries to get to the inside of Tony Elliott. Cannot make the move, though, as Elliott slams the door.
Elliott really using up the racetrack. He knows he's got to run on that inside to keep those guys from going around. But as he tucked down that time, Hines just went right around the outside. Hines made a nice move there, getting Elliott to sneak down to the bottom, hug the bottom, and when he did, he went by on the outside.
And you saw that Billy Puterbaugh took the lead from Mike Blake. Puterbaugh just runs away up there in that black car. The battle for second and third is the best one. Tracy Hines on the outside. Jimmy McCune gets that spot. Now he goes wheel to wheel with Blake and comes out of the fourth corner with that position. So move Hines up into second as we've got one more lap to go.
Now then Jimmy McCune's going to try to get that third spot. He already has a transfer spot, so he doesn't want to do anything silly, but Elliott is right there. He's going to try to get that transfer spot as well.
Elliott up on the high side trying to make the momentum work. Cannot do it, however, and Tony Elliott, the leader of this point standings coming into this event, will have to run the semi. But boy, you got to be impressed with Billy Puterbaugh, who started sixth and came home the winner.
Well, he did a nice job. He got out front early. Once he got around Mike Blake, he just pulled away from everybody. But those guys showed you in that race that outside group will work if you've got your race car set up well enough to go out there.
So Billy Puterbaugh Jr. will make his 8th feature of the year 2000. His best finish so far this year has been at Cedar Rapids when he finished in the 4th position. So Puterbaugh gets unstrapped as he comes home victorious here in the 3rd heat race. Gary Lee will be back to talk with him in just a moment when we return to Thunder at Toledo, Ohio Speedway. Stay with us. Billy Puterbaugh Jr. wins heat race number 3. He was followed by Tracy Hines, Mike Blake, and Jimmy McCune. Those are the 4 that transfer to the feature. Tony Elliott among those who will be in our 12-lap semi-feature coming up just a little bit later. Let's go to victory lane. Here's Gary.
We saw a lot of youthful enthusiasm in the cockpit as he pulled in here. Now, Billy, you had some extra incentive this evening because your old man is here to honor Riley Beal. And he told you he always ran well here. If you didn't put your foot in that thing, he was going to climb in the cockpit and fire you.
Yeah, he was going to fire me, and I think it was more for that IRL test, kind of hoping that he'd win. He ran good here, and a lot of those guys ran good here, and we have Joe Kennedy, which is a crew chief on our IRL car, and he's helping us this week. He's helped us for the last couple of weeks since we had trouble at IRP, and he's done a world of difference with this thing, and I can't hope this thing runs any better. I mean,
but you know you're starting to turn it around because realistically this has been a lousy season for you.
It hadn't been all that good. We had a bunch of trouble with our dirt sprinter at the early year. We were shooting for the championship with our Qualistar sponsor, our brand new sponsor, and we were really hoping because we ran 21 races and still ran 6 last year in points.
Tell us about that pass for the lead as you went around that orange car of Blake.
Yeah, I mean, he's running pretty good, but we just had to sit there and kind of wait here and set him up and kind of come off the corner. We just got a brand new Gertie motor, which puts some donkeys under the hood for us. So it helps us squirt off the corner a little bit.
All right, we expect big things in that feature, and so does your old man.
Yeah, he does. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Joe Kennedy and Russ Sutton with Qualistar.
Amy, who do you have for us?
Well, I'm standing by here with Jimmy McCune, and he's part of a 2-car team that's racing with a heavy heart for Larry Newber and, of course, Kenny Irwin Jr., who we predominantly used to see in Thunder races in this number 2 sprint car. This is a rare sprint car appearance for you, but this is your home track. You're a hometown hero here in Toledo. Tell me a little bit about that heat race.
Well, we're just trying to get some seat time right now. I haven't run a sprint car in a little over a year right now, so you know, Johnny was real happy with what we done in the champ car for him this year so far, so he decided to put a new sprint car together so we could at least come out and run this first race out here at Toledo in my hometown.
Okay, now is it pending on how you do tonight, whether or not we'll see you on Thunder next week at IRP?
Well, I'm hoping so. We talked about it before we even raced this race, so I'm hoping so. We just got to come out of here without tearing anything up, so we got everything good for next week, so hopefully we'll be there.
Well, we wish a lot of luck to Jimmy McCune, his teammate Ryan Newman, and the entire Johnny Vance team. As, again, I said, they're racing with a heavy heart for a good cause tonight.
Jimmy McCune tried to make his first USAC Stoops Freightliner sprint car feature race of the year. They're here of all ages. And by the way, this is banner night here at Toledo Speedway. The team or the person deemed with the best banner will win a prize here at this racetrack tonight. Thanks for the salute to ESPN. We'll be right back. ESPN's presentation of Thunder USAC Stoops Freightliner Sprint Cars from Toledo being brought to you by Daytona, USA, the official attraction of NASCAR. Here's a lineup for the fourth and final 8-lap heat race of the evening. On the pole, car number 35 will be Ed Kennons outside Jack Hewitt in number 16. Brad Armstrong will line up third in car number 99 and Eric Gordon alongside in 3A. In the third row, Brian Tyler inside 73, Jason McCord in number 4, and back in row number 4, we have Jay Drake in car number 62. And Jay Drake will be carrying one of our onboard cameras.
And we've documented how hot this young man is. He's really on a roll. It's hard to describe how much confidence can do for you. When you're winning as much as he is, you think you're going to win every time you get in there, and it really, really helps you and the whole team. You can see 4 fast times so far, 6 top 6 finishes, 4 wins. He's really, really been hot this year, and I have no reason to believe that that's going to stop.
But all of those wins have been on the dirt, and we are on the pavement tonight. Now here is the driver who is third on the all-time win list in the Stoops Freightliner Sprint Car Series with 44 career wins. That is Jack Hewitt.
Yes, and most of those have also been on the dirt. He is a dirt specialist. He won't deny that, but he has won on the pavement on several occasions. And his style is a little bit unorthodox on the pavement. He'll slip and slide, dip and dive more than anybody out there, but most of the time he's pretty quick.
The last time this series was here 11 years ago, this is the guy that won the feature, Eric Gordon.
Yes, Eric Gordon's been around a long time. He always he finished second in this division several times, always more or less playing second fiddle to Jeff Gordon back in his heyday. He kind of dropped out of sight, didn't have a good ride for a couple of years, but he came back with a vengeance this year. He's got a terrific ride in the Arctic Cat car, and I think he's got a great shot at winning this championship.
Well, Eric Gordon joins a list of great race drivers who have taken the checkered flag here at Toledo Speedway. There's a list of them. You see numerous, multiple winners, including Raleigh Beal, Gary Bettenhouse, and Tom Sneva even won a sprint car race here at Toledo. So did Pancho Carter and Tom Bigelow and some of the other drivers that Larry mentioned earlier in the evening. Eric Gordon won in September of 1989, the last time that this series visited this half-mile facility.
Yes, this was a real stronghold. A lot of the drivers, Raleigh Beal, guys like Donnie Harrell, Ron Kilman, and a lot of Boyd Weaver, all these guys came from this area. Carl Busson all came from the upper Ohio area, so we ran a lot. But right now we don't have a lot of drivers from this area, so we don't get up here quite as often as we used to.
All right, getting set now for the fourth and final heat race of the evening. After this, we have a 12-lap semi and then a 30-lap feature event. Ed Kennons on the pole, car number 35, and Hewitt will be alongside in number 16. That's Brad Armstrong and Eric Gordon back there in the second row. Tyler and McCord in row 3. And bringing up the tail of the field with the onboard camera is Jay Drake. Here's the start.
And you can see Hewitt already slipping and sliding out there. He had that back end stuck out there as he got the wheel spinning a little bit, but it was good enough to get the lead.
And Jay Drake will try to pick off as many as possible here. He gets 1 down the back stretch as the rest of the field enters corner number 4. It's Hewitt in the lead, Terry Gordon running second, then Armstrong, McCord, and Brian Tyler, your top 5 right now, with the Jay Drake car getting to the inside of Tyler and taking over 5th.
Tyler just went in there a little bit too hot, got way wide, just allowed Drake to go by on the inside. McCord right there in front of him, staying right to the bottom. So now that he moves up just a little bit, you can see Drake trying to stick his nose under there. There just wasn't quite enough room, though, as McCord was a little bit loose in that corner.
Yeah, he sure was. Corner number 3 and 4 much better for Jason than 1 and 2. As he hangs on to that 4th position. Here comes Brian Tyler battling back on the outside in the blue car, the 73, trying to get the spot from Drake, who by the same token is trying to take over the 5th spot from Jason McCord.
And you can see Tyler really drives that thing into the corner deep. He gets through the middle of the corner pretty good, but then coming off, he just can't come off the corner with him.
McCord is running in the 4th position at the moment. Here once again is Drake down to the inside. Out front is Jack Hewitt with Eric Gordon running in second spot. That also is a pretty good battle as Brian Armstrong is right there also in the third position. So a very tight heat race. And again, we're watching Jay Drake trying to wrestle the spot away from McCord and being unable to do so.
This is the closest race that we've had all night long. Is Hewitt out there in front. Nobody seems to be able to get around him on the outside. And everybody hanging right to the bottom. Nobody has a race car that's good enough to go to the outside and pass anybody right now.
And coming up on the white flag, one more lap to go, 7 of 8 complete. We'll see if Jack Hewitt can hang on to the lead here and whether Jason McCord can hang on to that fourth and final transfer position or whether Jay Drake will have some success. Drake is going to head to the high side of the racetrack and see if he's got anything up there. He may have found it. Off the corner they come, and I'm not sure who finished fourth.
Oh, I don't either. He waited a long time and just about pulled it off on the last half lap as he went up there in 3 and 4. But we're going to have to wait for the official scorers to let us know because it was too close to call from here.
Well, the winner of the race was Jack Hewitt. But did Jay Drake finish fourth or fifth? That is the question that we await right now. Eric Gordon finished in the second position, and Brad Armstrong was in third.
See Jay Drake, he doesn't really know exactly where he finished yet. He's kind of looking around, see if he gets some indication. But so far, nobody's talked. Last week, remember, we had almost the same identical thing for the feature win. Let's see if we can tell here who came in that fourth and final transfer spot.
Well, as they come to the line, let's see. Well, it's going to be Jason McCord, and that does indeed back up what USAC just told us. McCord finished fourth, but oh so close was Jay Drake in the fifth position. Well, Jack Hewitt has arrived in victory lane, and his best finish so far this year in this division was second at Granite City, but he wins the fourth heat race here tonight at Toledo, Ohio Speedway. We'll be right back. Jack Hewitt wins the fourth heat race. Eric Gordon finishes second, followed by Brad Armstrong and Jason McCord, just edging out Jay Drake for the fourth spot. So Drake will have to run the semi, which is the next event coming up. But right now we go down to Gary in victory lane.
You know, Bob, the last time I was this close to Jack Hewitt, I was parked behind him in that two-seater, and I think it's probably more fun in the car with you than to actually watch you. Now, you told me before the race, I said, is this a one-race or one-group racetrack? And you said, well, if it is, I've got it covered because this car is all over the racetrack. And you said it's not much better now.
Well, it's a little bit. Keith's been working on it, you know, and Greg's been helping us a little bit tonight. We put the setup off of Jay's car on it, and it's 100% improvement, but we still got a long way to go. I figured everybody, I was holding them up. They scared to pass me.
So what changes now can you make before the feature?
Now we just got to tighten her up. I think if we'd have started this way at the beginning, it would have been a lot better because we'd have been fine-tuning it. But right now, we're close enough. Now we got to start like our qualifying should be next, but now we've got the feature, so it's going to put a little pressure on the crew.
Now, here's a guy that's worth the price of admission and probably the most popular driver down here, so we'll have a watch and see what he can do at number 16. But, Amy, what do you have for us?
Well, I have some bad news, actually, for Jay Drake. I hate to be the one to come down here and tell him when he thought he got the transfer, you have to run the semi. So, obviously, you're going to make some changes so you can pass a little bit better. What are you guys going to change to the car?
Well, I'm not sure exactly. We'll just try to get it to stick to the track a little better so we can move up and try that outside groove. It actually worked there. I guess I just waited a little too long to give it a shot, and so you know it gives us hope that maybe later in the night we'll get some rubber buildup out there and we'll be able to race around the outside there. And actually it's all right. We'll run the semi and get a little more practice with this car and get better acquainted with it.
Well, you know, you guys, this is the second time on Thunder now that we've had such close finishes that instant replay really helps us tell who actually gets the spot.
Yeah, I missed that midget race in Anderson, which I guess was really, really exciting for the finish of the feature. This was for the fourth position in the fourth heat race, and that's Drake on the outside and McCord down to the inside.
And you can see that McCord barely beats him there, but if that finish line had been about 20 feet farther down, I'm not sure the outcome would have been the same.
So Jason McCord will go immediately to the feature event while Jay Drake and the others get ready now for the semi-feature.
Look at the crowd. Wow.
Yeah, good crowd on hand as they await more of the Stoops Freightliners Sprint Car Series. Welcome back to our Thunder telecast here at Toledo, Ohio Speedway. You know, death is something that we never like to talk about, but unfortunately, those of us in auto racing have to talk about it much too frequently. We cannot leave Toledo, Ohio Speedway without saluting my original partner here on ESPN2 Auto Racing, Larry Nuber. He was from this area, and he was a major contributor to those early days of auto racing on our networks. He was always looking for unique ways to cover the sport. Was always willing to get his hands dirty to make a point. And to educate the viewer on the workings of a race car. Back in 1984, Larry was there for the first show of a new ESPN series.
Speed Week is brought to you by BF Goodrich TA High-Tech Radials. We make cars perform.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to our premiere Speed Week show.
And I'm Larry Nuber. Speed Week will be motor racing yesterday, today, and a little bit of tomorrow, and of course the stories behind the scenes. Lots of racing action last weekend, so let's get right to it.
Larry was passionate about auto racing, able to anchor any kind of event, whether it was a midget race at the Indianapolis Speedrome, at Pocono, Pennsylvania for an IndyCar race, or in a European venue for Formula One. Larry could handle the assignment. But perhaps his shining moment on ESPN was on Labor Day weekend 1985 when the first Winston Million was up for grabs at Darlington, South Carolina. Let us always remember that it was Larry Nuber who made the call.
Elliott at this historic old race plant is running in the tire tracks of people like Johnny Mance, who won the first race back in 1950 here. Bonnie Flop, Buck Baker. Bill Elliott is racing into the record books. Bill Elliott is going toward immortality. Bill Elliott gets the checker flag. Bill Elliott has won an additional $1 million in 1985.
And Larry, it's on nights like these that we think about you and your contribution to auto racing. And then on Friday, we were shocked and saddened to hear about the death of one of our own here on the Thunder Series, Kenny Irwin Jr., who was killed while practicing for Sunday's NASCAR Winston Cup race at New Hampshire International Speedway. Kenny honed his skills in the USAC open wheel ranks and utilized our Thunder Series to show the world his talent. And talent was something that Kenny had lots of. We'll long remember his ability in a midget car, which brought him 8 career wins and a national championship in 1996. In sprint cars, where he tallied 7 victories. And especially in the Coors Light Silver Bullet Series, where his 6 wins helped capture the attention of NASCAR team owners. He was successful in NASCAR too, winning a Craftsman Truck Series event in Texas, and later winning the pole for a Winston Cup race at that same facility, and Rookie of the Year honors in Winston Cup in 1998. Those of us who grew up in central Indiana and have followed USAC racing were extremely proud of Kenny. We express our sincere condolences to his family and friends. Our next Thunder telecast will be next Sunday. We'll be at Indianapolis Raceway Park for the USAC Stoops Freightliner Sprint Car Series, part of our Thunder telecast here on ESPN2. That's next Sunday, 5:30 Eastern Time. Well, we have a distinguished guest among us tonight. There is Sarah Fisher, a rookie this year at the Indianapolis 500, and in her first full season in the Indy Racing Northern Light Series. She, of course, grew up in this area and is among the guests signing autographs here tonight at Toledo, Ohio Speedway. And we have some veterans, shall we say. Now, that's Charlie Masters, who won 3 races in USAC sprint car competition, nearest to you. In the middle is Charlie Shaw, who owns Winchester Speedway, and next to him is Tom Bigelow, the winningest driver in USAC sprint car competition with 52 victories. Now, down with Gary Lee, who's with some other veterans.
Man, I love the bench race, and this is a great night to talk to the veterans. Carl Bussin here on my left, Cy Fairchild on my right. Carl, you're from Toledo, and you probably raced as many laps against the guy we honor this evening, Raleigh Beal, as anybody else. What kind of a gentleman and a competitor was Raleigh?
That's exactly what it is, a gentleman and a champion, really. Me and Raleigh got, actually, I got see Raleigh win championships before I started racing. And I started my racing career sort of parallel to Raleigh, followed him really. He was a champion back then, champion today. Gentleman, really great guy. Great, don't come any better.
IMCA champion, two-time Little 500 champion. Cy Fairchild, Little 500 champion, two-time winner in the USAC sprints. And now I'm going to just give you the microphone. You should do the interview because I understand you have your own radio show.
Yes, we have a radio show on WFDF 910 out of Flint, Michigan every Sunday from 10 till noon. We talk nothing but racing. We've interviewed Rutherford and Unser and Gordon Johncock's been on quite a bit. Johncock's the guy that really was our first interview with us, Gordon. My son started doing football, and he had to do it for so many weeks, and the football season was over with, and we still had 4 weeks, so they called up and said, hey, come on down and talk racing. I said, talk racing for 4 weeks. So we got Gordy Johncock and them. They come in, and we did the show, and from there on it excelled.
I'll give you the telephone number, Bob Jenkins' home number, and Larry Rice's home number. You can call them and interview them.
I'll pass.
He wants the big guys, right? None of this small potato stuff, right? I'm going to stay down here and bench race, guys. You call this semi.
That's fun. It's good to see these guys back out here at the racetrack. Now, that previous shot we had was not Tom Bigelow. He had moved out of the picture, and when the other guy appeared, I wondered where in the world he went. But that is Tom Bigelow there, the third guy in your screen, the winner of 52 USAC Sprint Car features and the winningest driver in this division. Well, let's see who wins this semi-feature here tonight on Raleigh Beal Night, sponsored by Himmelgarn Racing. Jay Drake is the pole sitter for the 12-lap semi with Bud Kading alongside. Brian Tyler and Casey Kane make up row number 2. Row 3 is Jonathan Bennard and Tony Elliott. Derek Davidson and Levi Jones are in row number 4. The 5th row, Jim Mills and Brett Poole. In row number 6 is Bobby Adamson and Ed Kinnons, and all alone back in row number 7 is Gordon Rogers in car number 94. Well, Tony Elliott leads the USAC Stoops Freightliner Sprint Car points as we head into this event by 32 over J.J. Yaley. Derek Davidson third in points. Brian Tyler is 5th in the points, followed by Darlin, Drake, Gordon, Kane, and Bennard.
And 6 out of those top 10 are in the semi. That tells you how tough this field is here tonight. Jay Drake is 7th. He starts on the pole. Tyler starts 3rd. He's 5th in the point standings. Casey Kane is 9th. Bennard is 10th. Elliott, of course, leading, and he starts back in 6th spot.
Well, we're taking a look at Jay Drake here as he has the pole position for this 12-lap semi, and the top 6 finishers will transfer. That means 6 will transfer and 7 will go home. Casey Kane on the outside of row number 2. Amy?
Well, Casey Kane has had some motor trouble tonight. For the gearheads at home, they will appreciate that the only reason he had motor trouble is because he was trying something new. They were only running 8 downward nozzles in their fuel injection system. They've now gone back to the original 16, 8 up and 8 down, and they hope that it will run better for them on the lower end.
Wow.
Well, that was pretty good, wasn't it?
How about that? Thank you, Amy.
Now, the nozzles in the injection, obviously, a very important part. And what happened, they were getting too much fuel on the bottom end, evidently, and it was loading up, and he wasn't getting good starts or restarts or getting off the corner very well.
All right, let's see what happens here. We've got 12 laps of racing to go as Drake and Kading lead them down to a green flag, and here we go.
That was a very good start. Both guys got on the throttle very evenly. Kading staying right with him, right on the outside right now as Tyler tries to sneak under him going down the back straightaway.
Good run down the back stretch, but Jay Drake does get the lead. That's Kading to the left, and the 73 is Brian Tyler in the blue car as he tries to get to the inside and going into turn 1. Whoa, wheel to wheel with Drake, and Brian Tyler is going to come out with a lead.
He comes in, and Kading did get against that front straightaway wall. You saw him bang into it just a little bit coming off the corner and kept on going.
Brian Tyler takes the lead from Jay Drake. Kading runs in the 3rd position now as he's dropped back a little bit from that run he had going earlier in the race. Look at this battle back here for the transfer positions.
That's 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. All their nose to tail. Tony Elliott right now in the 5th position. Trying to hold everybody off. Levi Jones right behind him in the 5th and final, or 6th and final transfer spot.
That's Derek Davidson in the yellow car, who's also trying to move up through the traffic, but not having much luck at the moment. Jonathan Bennard also in the battle for position back there.
Well, now Davidson's going to try the outside on Levi Jones. He got up
side of him going in, but he couldn't make that work, and now that he's going to lose. No, he didn't lose the spot. I thought Bennett had him on the inside.
Yeah, he got a little bit loose coming off the corner, but was able to maintain that position. But he's still under fire from Davidson, who has a good run down the front straightaway. Believe he's going to get the spot this time. Yes, Davidson picks up the spot and drops Levi Jones back one.
Oh, he got very sideways in there as Venner now trying to pick up Levi Jones and move into a transfer spot. He's all in the top 10 of the point standings, but he hasn't made the feature yet.
That's Elliott and Davidson now wheel to wheel as we've got 5 laps to go in this race that is being led by Brian Tyler.
Davidson really has that car working a lot better than it was earlier tonight. He had all kinds of trouble in his heat race, but it looks like he's got the outside figured out pretty well. So he's been able to pass a couple of cars out there.
Now Davidson is in the 6th position, so he has the final transfer spot. All these guys back here are trying to move up a position, but have got a long way to go in order to get up into the feature race.
Right now, 5th and 6th have moved away from Levi Jones, and that's going to make it very difficult for Venner to get back up there and get in this feature race if he doesn't get around him here in a lap or so.
Elliott and Davidson continue their tussle for position as we've got just 2 laps to go now for Brian Tyler, who continues to lead. We're on board with Jay Drake, and that is Tyler up there in the blue number 73. And oh, sideways going through the corner, allowing Drake to close right in. And they're coming down for the white flag.
He got him way too hot, got up there, got him way up high. I'm surprised he got that thing gathered up and kept on going.
Down the backstretch they come for the final time in the semi-feature event. It looks like Tyler is going to be able to win, but boy, a close call on the last lap made it a little bit closer than he would like. Drake finishes in the 2nd position, and here comes 5th and 6th. So both Tony Elliott and Derek Davidson will go to the feature race, and everybody that finishes behind Derek Davidson will put it on the trailer and head for home. Here's Brian Tyler, the winner of the semi-feature.
Well, it's a tough break for Jonathan Venner. He's 10th in point standings, fighting with Casey Kane for that Rookie of the Year honors, and he's not going to be in tonight's feature race, so he's going to have to come back next week and try to improve on that.
Brian Tyler qualifies for his 10th feature start of the year 2000. His best finish this year was on Thunder when he won at Cedar Rapids on a track not all that different from the one we're at here tonight in Toledo. A little bit less of a bank in Cedar Rapids, but nevertheless the kind of track that Brian Tyler really likes, and he has proven it here in the semi-feature.
Well, Brian Tyler's been around a while. He ran Indy cars a couple of years ago. Didn't really do all that well, partly because I think the ride he had wasn't as good as it should have been. But he's a good pavement racer.
96 and 97 USAC Sprint Car champion, Gary.
Well, a nice salute from the fans. And first of all, I see some steam or something coming off. Is that thing getting hot?
Oh, no. I think you got another valve cover problem. It's got a little oil coming out of the right side. So hopefully the guys will hurry up and get the car here and get it back to the pit so we can do some work on it.
Talk about that pass for the lead. Boy, you drove in real hard, real deep, and real low.
We've been chasing the car all night long. First it was real loose, and then it was real tight, and we're getting closer. The car's still a little too tight to go to the top side, but, you know, we're going to go back and tweak on it a little bit right now, and hopefully we can go to the top and bring this baby to the front.
What about the last lap with Drake catching you?
I hauled it into 3 a little too hard trying the top line there, and it got real loose, and, you know, he made up a bunch of ground on me right there. So, you know, hopefully we can go back and fix that problem. And
well, normally on a dirt track, it's sometimes a benefit to run the semi. You learn what the track is like just before the feature. Is there really any benefit on pavement to run the semi?
Sometimes there is. When you come to a track for the first time that you never run before, you know, it can work in your favor. We learned some things in the semi right now that hopefully we can apply to the feature and, you know, make us a little better.
Go tell them what to do. Fix that car. Amy with Casey Kane.
Well, Casey Kane finished 4th in that semi. Casey, we told the viewers at home quickly how you guys went back to the 16 nozzles, 8 up, 8 down. Did that work for you? Was it better on the lower end?
Yeah, it took off a lot better, but it's still, I mean, it runs a lot better, but it's just not, it's not perfect yet, so we still got a little work to do there.
Well, what more can you change? What do you do now? Do you go back into the fuel injection system, maybe change the pill? What do you think you're going to do here?
They'll just probably change a pill, but I don't know. We got to work on the car, too, because it's not really that great right now, and I don't know, we've been kind of struggling with the motor, so it's been hard to work on the car, and now hopefully we'll be able to do both and get a little better.
Well, Casey's right. You always have to chase the chassis when the motor is not performing up to speed. And so right now he's got a big job ahead of him before the feature.
Okay, Larry, what are they referring to when they talk about the pill?
Well, the pill is just a little round piece of brass. It has a hole in the center of it. It regulates how much fuel goes into the engine and how much goes back into the fuel, back into the tank. And if you make a larger hole, then you let more fuel bypass. So that pill actually leans it out or makes it richer.
All right, let's take a look at the results of the semi-feature. Brian, Tyler, and Jay Drake, first and second. Then Kading, Kane, and Elliott. And the final transfer went to Derek Davidson. Those not making the show, Venard, Jones, Poole, and Adamson. The 30-lap feature, the next main event coming up. We'll be back in a moment to Toledo. Next Sunday, 12:30 Eastern Time, Dr. Jerry Punch and Benny Parsons will be on hand in Nazareth, Pennsylvania for the Econo Lodge 200 for the NASCAR Busch Series. That's 12:30 Eastern next Sunday on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of Go Network, go.com. We're at Toledo, Ohio Speedway on Ron Himmelgarn Racing Night, saluting Raleigh Beal. And boy, is Gary surrounded by a lot of great race drivers.
Well, these guys have torn up a lot of race cars. That's all I can say. Here's one of the guys we honored tonight. In fact, you tore up a couple of race cars the day you finally won your championship at Eldora back in 1973. You got upside down, what, twice that day?
No, I got upside down once. Maybe a few times I flipped, but then I broke one, and it was sort of like a Hollywood script, I think.
You know, we talk about honoring Raleigh Beal, the 73 USAC Sprint Car champion, a former USAC official, and like I said to you before we went on camera, a fine gentleman. And all these folks have come out here to honor you this evening, a lot of your former competitors. And to win a race here at Toledo, they had to beat you.
Well, you know, it was sort of, they used to call it a Raleigh Beal benefit when we come here. You know, for some reason, we usually work pretty good at the track, and I think maybe you put out a little extra when you're in front of the hometown people. You know, anyway, it worked good, Gary.
In this day and age, drivers like to be full-time race drivers. You always had the family to support and always had a full-time job, as I recall, with the railroad, in addition to all your racing.
That's correct, you know, and that's why I feel that we enjoyed ourselves a lot more back when we raced, because we all had jobs and we did it because we liked it.
Now, I know you all had dinner with these guys earlier, and I'm sure there was probably a lie or two that was told back there in that banquet hall.
Well, you know, we try to outdo each other, you know, because a lot of them can't remember back then what was really going on. So, but we did have a good time, and I feel real proud and honored that they all showed up. It's great.
We're happy to honor you. Congratulations. A fine champion and gentleman right there. It's Raleigh Beal night here in Toledo.
Between 1970 and 76, Raleigh Beal had 5 wins, 1 second, and 3 thirds here at Toledo. He is 8th in the all-time USAC sprint car win list with 32 victories. And it's nice to see Raleigh Beal here tonight as he is saluted at Toledo Speedway.
Well, I don't think I can add anything that everybody else hasn't already said. He was not only a great champion and a great race car driver, he was truly a gentleman. And he ran the sprint car division. He was a supervisor for a while, and he always treated everybody when they were driving with the same respect he did when he drove.
Raleigh Beal night here at Toledo, Ohio Speedway. Well, let's check up on some of the other racing from around the United States. Saturday, USAC's MCI WorldCom Western Midget Car Series visited the 3rd mile paved oval in Madera, California.
Sleepy Trip used the inside front row starting spot to his advantage, beating point leader Bobby Boone to turn 1. The action was slowed on lap 2 when Dan Dryden, driving the Lawson Black 15 entry, spun in turn 1 while battling for 4th. Dryden out of Indianapolis would continue. The man moving up on the high side in that familiar red Zarunian number 67 is Western Sprint Car ace Tony Hunt. After starting 14th, Hunt was challenging Wally Pankratz for 3rd. Up ahead, that's Boone looking to the outside of Tripp to take over the top spot. Hunt made his pass stick. Boone couldn't until Tripp slid high, giving up the top spot to Boone. Hunt continued to move up on the outside when he and Rick Hendricks got together. Hunt does a 360 on the front stretch. Hendricks does his best Joey Chitwood impression, up and over. Everyone continues with no yellow and only 2 spots lost. With only 6 laps to go, Tripp tags Boone, and around goes the youngster, and out comes the late race caution. And after the restart, guess who? Hunt is challenging for the lead after starting 14th. And once again, he makes the long way around work for him, completing his march to the front in turn 3 with only 3 laps to go. What a great season he's having, and it continues as Tony Hunt picks up his first ever career MCI World Cup Western Midget Car Series feature victory.
When the USAC competitors come to your area, you'll want to check them out. The MCI WorldCom TQ Midget Car Series is at Irwindale tonight. The Western Sprint Car Series is at Silver State Raceway in Carson City, Nevada tomorrow. The WorldCom National Midget Cars are in Kokomo, Indiana, July 14th. The National Midget Cars are in Hartford Speedway in Michigan. And on the 15th, the Stoops Freightliner Sprint Cars will be in Claremont, Indianapolis Raceway Park. Western Sprint Car Series in Boise, Idaho, and the National Midget Cars are at Chicago Motor Speedway also on the 15th. And on the 20th, Stoops Freightliner Sprint Car Series will kick off Indiana Sprint Week with the first event at Twin City Raceway in North Vernon, Indiana. The next Indy Racing Northern Lights Series event is in Atlanta, and one of the drivers who has a ride for that event is J.J. Yaley. Amy?
And, you know, we don't talk a lot about J.J. Yaley, although he's been extremely consistent so far this year. You're currently second in USAC sprint car points, but you had some trouble tonight. Tell me a little bit about what was going on with your motor earlier tonight.
It's kind of how our whole season's been going. We had a mag problem in hot laps, and it was a short version of hot laps tonight, so we didn't really find it in time. We had to qualify with it being bad, and it really hurt us. So, you know, we got to start in front of the heat race, and we won it. So, you know, the car was working really good in the heat race. We're just going to have to start in the back of the feature, so it's going to make it tough.
Well, you're a driver that's moved from Arizona to Indiana to further your racing career, and I understand you have a ride in the Indy Racing League coming up soon. Tell me about where you see your career going with the IRL.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. Jonathan Bird McCormick Motorsports picked me up with World Best Buy as our sponsor, and yeah, it's very fortunate for me to get back into the IRL. I love it very much. Indy cars are very fun to drive. We did a test last week at Kentucky with the Riley Scott car, and everything went really, really good. So we're looking forward to next week at Atlanta. You know, the only downside is I'm going to miss IRP, and it's going to hurt me a little bit in points, so we're going to have to step up the program tonight.
Well, you guys, J.J. Yaley has a lot of talent. He's usually known for his dirt track talent, but he's proven to be a very good pavement driver as well. Gary?
Well, talk about a good pavement driver. Looky who we have here, former USAC Sprint Car champion Tom Bigelow, the winningest driver in USAC Sprint competition, 52 victories. Tonight, we honor one of your old nemesis and a guy that we described as a champion and a gentleman. Talk about your wars with Raleigh Beal.
Well, you say a gentleman? Well, you know, when we were racing, he wasn't a gentleman because he wouldn't move over and let you by, but Raleigh is a real gentleman, really been a tough competitor through all the years. Raleigh taught me a lot when I come along, and then it was really a pleasure to have run with Raleigh Beal because he'd get up there and he wouldn't give you any slack, but he wouldn't run you out of the racetrack either, you know. Raleigh has really been a good friend through all the years, running at the Winchester Speedway, Rossburg. You got up there, and I know a couple times I probably bumped him, but then there's probably been a couple times he's bumped me also. But I'm really proud to be here on Raleigh Beal night.
What a great night, and all the chances you guys have had to reminisce and to talk about the good old days.
Oh, yes, this is really fun. We don't get together enough, you know. When we do a thing like this here, you sit down and you start talking about this and about that, and then some of the crashes maybe you've had, and naturally the wins, getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, which Raleigh's in there. It's just a lot of fun. I hope we do this year after year, and we need to do it a couple times. We do it at the Winchester Speedway on Old Timers Weekend, and I hope Toledo keeps doing it here.
Another great racing champion and gentleman right here. Hey, Rice, they said they want you down here for this photo session.
Yeah, Larry Rice should be down here. You know, he's a great driver.
He's an old-timer.
He's an old-timer, yeah. Larry's a little younger than I am, but he's still a great driver and a good friend.
I don't admit to that, Tom. I don't admit to being an old-timer yet. What the heck? He is a great guy, and he does run Winchester Speedway for Charlie Shaw now, so he's been in all facets of motorsports, and he was truly a great competitor. He's one of the guys you kind of overlook. He ran Indianapolis a lot of times and ran very well in the Indy cars, too.
So good to see so many old-timers here. There, of course, is Ron Himmelgarn, the owner of Himmelgarn Racing and the Indy Racing Northern Light Series, which tonight will offer a test to the winner of the 30-lap feature which is coming up. Among Tom Bigelow's 52 career wins was one here at Toledo back in 1974. Back with more on Thunder from Toledo, Ohio. Just a moment. Ron Himmelgarn offering a ride to the winner tonight in an IRL car. Well, before we do anything else, want to say happy birthday to Greg Oldham, who will be celebrating a birthday on Sunday. How old is he? Well, I better not say. Happy birthday, Greg. Good job. Dave Steele will carry one of our onboard cameras here tonight. He'll be starting back in the 5th position. The young driver from the Tampa, Florida area who has made a mark up here in the Midwest running for the USAC sprints and silver bullet division.
Yes, and he went down and tried the NASCAR cars earlier this year. He had limited success. He said, man, I just wasn't having so much fun. I like these open-wheel cars, so I came back up here, and that's what I'm going to run. And he's one of the few guys that give up the money. I mean, he had a contract. He was making lots of money, and he just said it wasn't any fun, and I want to do this. So he's back again racing with us.
Well, let's check out the starting lineup for this all-important race here tonight at Toledo, Ohio Speedway. Steve Czerniak will be on the pole. He's from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and Kokomo, Indiana's Dave Darlin will be alongside. Jay Drake, California driver, has the 3rd starting spot, along with Newcastle, Indiana's Tracy Hines. Dave Steele will start in 5th position, flanked by South Bend, Indiana's Ryan Newman. Billy Peterbaugh Jr. starts 7th. He's from Brownsburg, Indiana, and Anderson, Indiana's Jason McCord will start in the 8th position. Starting 9th from Brownsburg, Indiana, Robbie Rice, and Campbell, California's Bud Katie. In the 6th row, Jimmy McCune from right here in Toledo, Ohio, and Parma, Michigan's Brian Tyler. From the state of Washington, now making his home in Indiana, Casey Kane, and Kokomo, Indiana's Tony Elliott. Eric Gordon from Indianapolis, along with Tony Ave from Hurley, Wisconsin, back in the 8th row. Row number 9, a couple of Indiana boys, Lafayette's Derek Davidson and New Palestine's Brad Armstrong. J.G. Yaley from Phoenix, Arizona has the 19th starting position, along with Indianapolis's Mike Blake. And back in the last row, Troy, Ohio's Jack Hewitt, and from Alexandria, Indiana, Brandon Petty. Those are the 22 starters.
9 different states represented in this feature event out of 22 starters. That's a pretty good part of the country. There are the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th starters in tonight's feature event are triple threats. All 3 of them running in the top 10 in every division in USAC. Darlin, Drake, and Hines. And in all fairness, Drake has not run a lot of sprint car races, only about half of them. Hines didn't start in the midget division until late. Darlin's the only one that set out to try to do this, and he's still in the top 6 in all 3 divisions.
Well, before we go green, let's get the latest from the pit area. And first, Gary Lee.
Well, you guys normally come down here for picks, and Amy's always complaining that we go to her last. So, Amy, I yield to you.
Why, thank you, Gary. For the first time on Thunder, I get to make a prediction first. Well, I'm going to predict Dave Steele. This is his 4th sprint car start of the 2000 season, and in the 3 starts he has, he's finished 2nd and 2/3. So I think Dave Steele is due for a win, and I think that he worked down there long enough in the pit area that hopefully he's got the right package to do some passing tonight. So I'll predict Dave Steele will make it to victory lane. Thanks, Gary.
Okay, I will tell you, it's tough to bet against Ryan Newman. He's the fast qualifier. I talked to his dad. He said the car was tight in the heat race. They've loosened the car up. So I'll go with the yellow number 1 of Newman.
Well, Newman will be starting back in the 6th position on the outside of the 3rd row in the Johnny Vance Racing Team Aristocrat Products Chevy Beast. Well, Jimmy McCune is, as we indicated, a hometown boy. He's 24 years of age, currently 7th in the National Midget Series, and in the Silver Bullet Series, his best finish this year has been 3rd at Nazareth and Indianapolis Raceway Park.
Yeah, he's a good young kid. He's had a little trouble getting good rides, but since he's gotten hooked up with Johnny Vance in the Silver Crown, Silver Bullet Series, and the Sprint Car Series, he's been doing very well. great rides can make a great race car driver, believe me, and Johnny Vance does have good race cars.
Getting set for 30 laps of competition here tonight. Here is Jay Drake, who carries our other onboard camera, starting in the 3rd position. Drake from Valle Verde, California, and has been hot, as we documented earlier in the evening, especially during the month of June, hoping to carry that momentum over into the month of July.
Well, he certainly is, and he's, you know, last year he didn't have, again, a steady, full-time, good ride in a lot of race cars. He ran some race cars very steadily, but the car owners he ran for didn't run all the races, so it was hard for him to finish high in the point standings in anything he ran. But he ran fairly good last year. He just had some bad luck. This year, he's been very hot, and everything he's run, he's been very fast.
Well, these onboard pictures are courtesy of CarQuest Auto Parts. For the location of your nearest store, dial 1-800-492-PART. We thank CarQuest Auto Parts for their support in maintaining our ability to do the onboard cameras for you at each of our Thunder events.
Well, they've certainly been with us for a long, long time. We certainly do appreciate them making it possible, because without them, we wouldn't have those great shots that we get off of these cars.
Great field of sprint car drivers and cars are set to go, and the people who have turned out here at Toledo Ohio Speedway tonight appreciate the racing they have seen. Let's hope for a nice, safe race. This is the 19th time that the USAC sprint cars have competed here on the half-mile racetrack. However, the first time since 1989. And we're set to go again. The winner of this race will get a test with the Ron Himmelgarn IRL team. So there is a lot at stake for the winner.
Well, several of these cars. I'm sorry, Gary, you got something to add?
You know, I may have missed it because I was visiting with some folks down here, but did you guys make your predictions? I don't recall hearing.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, you didn't, did you? All right, come on.
Okay, I'm
going up to the bar, boys.
I'm going to beat Bob to the punch. I'll take Tracy Hines. He's always very fast, and he's got a great shot.
I'll take Dave Darlin.
Well, he's got the best starting spot, so you might be the best pick of all.
Well,
that's right. We gave him to you. We let you have him.
So often in the heat races, we saw the guy who started on the outside of the front row dive in front of the pole sitter and take the lead, and would never be headed again. So maybe that's the way it'll work out here tonight. That's Darlin on the outside of Steve Cerniak as we get set for the big feature race here tonight at Toledo Ohio Speedway in the USAC Stoops Freightliner Sprint Car Series. Here they come, and the green is out.
Wow, Cerniak got a great jump off the corner and beat Darlin into turn number 1, so he's going to be tough to beat. Now Darlin comes back on the outside. Cerniak gets loose, but he still hangs on to that inside spot.
Well, they're still wheel to wheel all the way through the corner. Let's see who leads the first lap. It is Darlin, but by just a half a car length. Now he completes the pass down in turn number 1, and Darlin has the advantage over Cerniak.
And Ryan Newman already up in the 4th spot on the outside. He's outside of Jay Drake there, who's running on the inside, and you can see he's battling hard for 4th spot with Jay Drake.
There is Newman in the yellow number 1 car on the outside of the 62 of Jay Drake as they head down the backstretch. That's Cerniak up ahead of the 19 car of Tracy Hines. Hines running in 3rd spot at the moment. Drake is in 4th.
Jay Drake giving us some great shots. You can see Hines trying to get low. Gets underneath that white line, but when he does, it kind of upsets the race car. Meanwhile, Newman has to fall back into 5th spot and fall in line. The outside groove just not quite quick enough.
Once again, Newman trying that high line, but not making it work, so he falls back in position. Meanwhile, here comes Dave Steele up quickly, but unable to get to the inside of Newman, and he had to hit the brakes hard.
Yeah, you can see Dave Steele. He had a notion to get in there, get that little punch in there. Just could not quite do it, though.
Boy, they are all jammed up here for 2nd, 3rd, 4th on back as Cerniak continues to hold the 2nd spot. But, Larry, you got to believe that he's holding these guys up, and if one of them should get around, he's going to take off. That's Tracy Hines trying to, down low, up high, unable to do so. Now on board with Dave Steele as he's right in the middle of this mess.
Wow, Dave Steele, you can see he's really working hard trying to get around these guys, but so far Cerniak's been able to hold everybody off.
And Dave Darlin, meanwhile, continues the lead, but he is not pulling away from the rest of the pack as we thought he might. There's Robbie Rice back there in the number 22 car as he's mired in the middle of the pack. The best action is right up here for second position on back. Again, this is Dave Steele's onboard camera. He's currently running in the 6th position.
Those guys all just fall in line. Every time they go through the corner, they try to sneak on the outside, sneak to the inside, try to get a little bit of a run on somebody off the corner. So far, though, Cerniak has been fast enough and using up enough of the racetrack that they just can't find a way to get around. There you saw Newman. He had 2 wheels clear down the grass, and when he did, he lost some ground.
Well, 10 laps are completed out of the 30, and now Dave Darlin falls back into the clutches of Cerniak and those others. They've closed on it, and now Cerniak is going to take a bid for the lead. But meanwhile, he's got to pay attention and do some defensive driving here because Tracy Hines is right there beside him now. He's got a good run. And Cerniak gets loose and still can't take an advantage. Tracy Hines can't take advantage of the slight bobble.
Well, Cerniak did exactly what he had to do. When he got loose, he turned that car back towards the inside. He didn't want anybody getting the wheel on the inside of him, getting into the next corner. Now then it looks like Hines has a run on him as he got loose off of that corner.
Oh, no. Cerniak has good power down the straightaways and can pull away from Hines when he reaches the straightaway, but every time it seems Hines is able to make a threat, and now he's got him. Hines makes the pass. He goes to second, and there is Jade Ray taking third. So all of a sudden, Cerniak now back to 4th, and Dave Steele is there to hunt for a position.
Right now, Dave Steele's got to try to get around. Now he moves to the outside. He's going to give Newman the inside. Newman can't quite take advantage of it. Meanwhile, Jay Drake all over Cerniak and those other guys catching up with our leader, Dave Darlin, up there in the front of the shot.
That is Dave Steele's onboard camera. Cerniak is all over the racetrack, but still able to hold on to that position.
You can see he just tries every way to get down to the inside of him. Cerniak uses up enough of the racetrack. This time, no. Yeah, you can see him climbing on the brakes. That's what that wiggle was. He climbed on the brakes really hard because Cerniak shut him off getting into the corner.
And this is a very difficult racetrack to pass on. And you have to know what you're doing to get the advantage on the guy ahead of you. And right now, Dave Steele is trying to find a way around Cerniak. Now here he may have the shot. He gets low on turn number 1 down the backstretch into the corner, and yes, Steele picks up the position. And Ryan Newman and Cerniak rough wheels. So good competition going on here at Toledo, Ohio Speedway. Dave Darlin leads the 30-lap feature. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Toledo, Ohio Speedway. Bob Jenkins along with Larry Rice, Gary Lee, and Amy East. We've got 10 laps to go, 20 complete, and here is the battle up front. It is Dave Darlin, followed closely by Tracy Hines, and then comes Jay Drake.
Jay Drake having a good run in that 62 car of Biddle's, that RBW car, BWB car, I mean, because he really, that car has not had all that good a run so far this year. That's the best run it's had all year, I think.
Dave Darlin is looking for his 14th career win in the USAC Stoops Freightliner division. He has 1 win earlier this year. That was on the dirt at Eldora. But right now, Darlin has the advantage and has had it since early in the race when he passed Steve Cerniak. But Tracy Hines is right there catching him as he has done and passing him. However, they are 2 different things. And we're back on board with Jay Drake, who's running 3rd.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what happened, but Jay Drake has fallen back just a little bit here in the last lap or 2. He was right on their tail before that. Now then he's begun to fall back. I said the 62 car hadn't had any good runs. It has had a couple of good runs with Brian Gerster, and he had quick time one time, started on the pole. So it has run fairly good, but this is the first time we've seen it run good here in the last month or so.
Dave Darlin, the 1997 Silver Bullet Series champion, also was the Silver Bullet champion in 1999. He is currently 6th in the sprint car points, and he begins to lap some of the slower traffic now with 5 laps to go. That was Mike Blake that he just put a lap on. The first 3 cars able to clear that slower car with no problem.
Yeah, and you can see these guys really battling the racetrack as well as the car in front of them. Hines Hines gets in the corner, through the middle of the corner very well. But the thing that enables Darlin to stay out front is he's getting off of the corner. But lap traffic could play a big, big part. Somebody blocks him, because wherever Darlin goes, Hines is going to go in the other place and hope that he can make the pass stick.
I think maybe I said Darlin was the 99 Silver Bullet champion, is the 99 sprint car champion, and indeed this could be the deciding factor in the closing laps of this race. Lap traffic right now with just 2 more laps to go. It is still Darlin being pursued by Tracy Hines and Jay Drake, and now we get down to the last lap and a half as they come up on some slower traffic.
Yeah, Jason McCord has just slowed down, pulled off the racetrack, so he's going to be out of the race. There's the white flag. Only 1 lap to go, but J.J. Yaley is going to play a part of this.
That is J.J. Yaley down there about to be lapped, but he could play a factor in who wins this thing. Darlin stays to the outside, and it looks like that Hines is going to get caught up behind J.J., and Dave Darlin wins here at Toledo, Ohio. Darlin finishes just a couple of inches ahead of the second place car of Tracy Hines, and Jay Drake finished in the 3rd spot.
Well, that was a pretty good race. Darlin, even though he led every single lap, he had a lot of pressure. First, Cerniak pulled back up on him, gave him a little pressure, and then Hines, after he got around Cerniak, gave him lots of pressure during the last part of that race, but he never could quite pull off the pass, even in traffic.
And we were betting an ice cream cone on this race, weren't we, guys?
Well, I had to prod you guys to even make your pick.
Well, Dave Darlin wins his.
Ryan Newman fell way back in the last part of the race. I think he had some tire problems because he went clear back out of the top 10, I think, near the end of the race. Way, way down there near the end.
Well, the Kroger-sponsored sprint car driven by Dave Darlin drives to victory lane here tonight in Toledo, Ohio. His 15th career win in the sprints, his 14th, I beg your pardon, and the 2nd this year. His other win, of course, as we said, on the dirt at Eldora.
Well, he's already had 1 IRL test, so I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see if somebody else will get that. Could be Tracy Hines. I'm not sure he's actually had a test in an IRL car, although he's run some Busch cars and so forth.
Yeah, there is the Road to Indy program that the USAC people are involved with Pennzoil Panther Racing, and they offer the champion of divisions in USAC an IRL test, and if the champion has already had a test with some other team, then it goes to the second placing driver. Well, last year as the sprint car champion, Dave Darlin got a test with Pennzoil Panther and now earns another one here tonight, but this will be with Himmelgarn Racing if that's the way it works, or maybe it goes to the second place finisher, Tracy Hines. Darlin receiving the congratulations and the cheers of the fans gathered here tonight, and I think we may be ready to talk with him, Gary Lee.
We are indeed. In fact, a few years ago, had someone told me you'll be talking to Dave Darlin in victory lane at a paved racetrack after leading every lap, I would have scoffed at the lunacy. You've come a long way, my lad, on these paved tracks. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. It has been a great, feels good to come here and win a pavement race. We won one last year with Don and Bud as the car owner, with Hoffman's helping them out, and that was a great race for us. And today, this is only my 2nd pavement win, so we're really excited about it. Got a new car that's starting to come around pretty good for us, and I'd just like to thank all the sponsors: Kroger, Pringle, Sunny Delight, and the Hoffman team. Without all those guys, we wouldn't be here right now. So.
After qualifying, you had to be smiling. Oh, 5th quick, and they invert the top 6, starting outside front row.
Yeah, we was real happy with that. We knew this was going to be a hard place to pass, and it was just hoping for a good starting spot somewhere in the first couple, 2 or 3 rows, and it worked out good for us. And the crew did a good job getting the car set up for me, and what can I say? Everybody done a good job.
Now, one of the big prizes this evening was a test with Himmelgarn Racing. Now, you've actually had a test, so do you still you didn't complete that test, though, did you?
No, I sure didn't. Still got some of it to finish yet.
Well, guess what? I guess you're going to get another one to finish.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Himmelgarn team for giving us the opportunity, and, we picked a fine time to get going here, and we're looking forward to the test with the Himmelgarn team.
And speaking of the Himmelgarn team in the car, if I can look over the light, I think it's being wheeled out here. This is actually the car that won. Here's Ron right here. Hey, there you go. Congratulations.
Welcome to the team.
Thank you. You told me earlier this is the car that actually won Indy?
This is the car we won Indy with in 1996, and it's our lucky car. It's never turned another lap since we took the checker flag at Indy. It's a very special car, and I thought this special night, and for Dave, let him rub a lucky car, and hopefully he can land him a ride in the IndyCar Series.
So when will you orchestrate this test?
Well, we're going to start working on that. We might work it into the Kentucky test. If not, we'll go to Dallas and test. So we'll have to work it in schedules that we have and then also Dave have. So it will either be at Kentucky or at Texas.
And what type of value do we put on this test? If he were to actually buy a test like this, how much would it cost?
Well, for what we're going to do, with about $40,000 to $50,000.
Big win for you tonight, buddy.
Well, it was great. Couldn't have picked a better time to get our pavement program together. So we're really excited about our, the sprint car is going good, and really looking forward to working with Ron and the Hamilgarn team on the test.
Congratulations. Big win for Dave Darland, your defending sprint car champion, Bob.
Well, if anybody deserves a break and an opportunity to run in the Indy Racing League, it is Dave Darland. With all that he has accomplished through the years, Ron Hamilgarn providing the opportunity for him to take an IRL test later this year. He wins here tonight at Toledo.
Welcome back to Toledo Speedway, where Tracy Hines finishes a close second. And I really thought that traffic would play the role and you could get him.
I really think our car was pretty good. I think we were a little faster, maybe, Gary, but it's pretty hard to pass here. You can see Steve Cerniak's car was kind of ill handling, and it was hard for my car to get around him. Dave held his line. I think we're a little quicker. We ran him down, but I pushed JJ about as good as I could. If they can show a replay, I really pushed JJ all the way around the corner with the front bumper because I knew somebody was in third right there, knocking on my door. So, man, if I can just lean on JJ a little bit, get him going. But, Dave did a good job. I can't say nothing about Northside Propane. I mean, this car, Bob Gratton, Margie Gratton, they bring us a good car from Florida. Dave Steele and myself. And, it's made me money, but it just didn't make me enough tonight.
Good ride to second position, Bob.
Great effort, and that was a real battle there for the first, second, and third positions. Here's the last lap, and that's J.J. Yaley there in the blue car, and it didn't play as much of a factor as we thought it would, but still it made things kind of interesting.
Going through 1 and 2, it looked very good, but you can see Tracy Hines did get up there and give him a couple of little bumps trying to get by him. Just couldn't do it.
So Tracy Hines finishes second, and Jay Drake finishes third. Amy?
The third time that I've talked to Jay Drake tonight, and you finished third, so I'm guessing at IRP next weekend you want me to just talk to you one time so you can bring it home in victory lane. Tell me about your feature run. You said you had a little bit of a push there. Is that basically what held you up in third position?
A little bit. We were fighting it all night long after we get a few laps on the tires that I think the right rear would come down on us a little bit and just get the car tight enough to where it would push a little bit through the middle and lose a little momentum. But we're still able to stick with the top two there and turn out to be a great race. And even without the push, it was so hard to pass. And those guys were running such good, clean lines that I don't know if we'd had anything for them to pass them. But, overall, it's a good night. First time I got in this car, and these guys got to work out a bunch of new changes that they did in the last couple weeks. And I think this third place finish will make them happy, and who knows, maybe we'll go on next week to IRP and try to step it up a little bit.
All right, well, Jay Drake had a good third place finish, and it looks like Dave Darland's making himself quite comfortable over there in that IRL car.
Yeah, indeed. He's at least slipping into it, and that is the car that Buddy Lazier won the Indy 500 in. And Dave Darland, as a result of his win here tonight, will get a test in the IRL. Sliding in there pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't think his knees were going to go in there. I think he's about the same size as Buddy Lazier, though, so he should fit all right.
That looks pretty comfortable, Buddy. How does it feel?
Feels great. Just really looking forward to running the car with the Hamilgarn team. And, like I said earlier, this car will probably fit a little better than the Goodyear's car. They got the driver more my size, so this is going to feel really good. Looking forward to it.
Well, of course, Dave Darland is thinking he's the same size as Buddy Lazier. And, Dave, I think you're a little taller than Buddy, but it might be pretty close. Did you think when you came to Toledo Speedway tonight that you would come here and run a sprint car and end the night sitting in an IRL car?
Well, we knew that was the deal coming in. We've been, that's the swirl that's been going around the USAC deal for coming here to get this test with the Hamilgarn team. And we couldn't have picked a better time to get the pavement program working. So, we're excited about the race tonight and excited about getting the test in this Hamilgarn ride. So.
And I think Dave Darland's new favorite color is purple, you guys.
Delta Faucet Coors Light also become favorites of Dave Darland. He wins the 30-lap feature here at Toledo. We'll wrap it up in a moment. ESPN's coverage of Thunder from Toledo, Ohio Speedway, being brought to you by Tractor Supply. Whether you have 1 acre or 1,000, Tractor Supply will help you get the job done. Well, we'll take a look at our full field rundown here tonight with Dave Darland coming home victorious. Tracy Hines, Jay Drake, Dave Steele, and Steve Cerniak were the top 5. And 6 through 10, Billy Peterbaugh Jr., Robbie Rice, Casey Kane, Brian Tyler, and Bud Kading. And while you take a look at the rest of the standings, we'd like to thank some people, Larry.
Yes, we want to thank Scott Schultz, Greg Riddle, and Ron Drager, who own, operate, and were a big help here at this racetrack this weekend. It takes a lot of people, and those guys, of course, being the owners and operators, have really helped us out while we were here.
Thanks for the hospitality. We have enjoyed it greatly. I'd like to remind you about our next Thunder telecast, which will be next Sunday at 5:30 Eastern Time, the Sprint Car Series at Indianapolis Raceway Park in Claremont, Indiana. Congratulations to Dave Darland, who wins here tonight and gets an IRL test with the Ron Himmelgarn team. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of Go Network, go.com.